So, how does an algorithm, a piece of code born on a developer's computer, actually make it into a hospital to help diagnose something life-threatening? Well, it's a journey that is absolutely filled with hurdles, pitfalls, and some really tough ethical questions. We're going to follow that exact path from a single line of code all the way to a critical clinical tool. For years, you've probably seen the headlines. They were everywhere, filled with these huge, bold predictions, kind of like this one. The idea was that machines were just on the verge of making human experts totally obsolete, especially in fields like radiology.
But, the reality, as it usually is just so much more complicated. Before an AI can even assist a doctor, it has to go through this whole series of grueling tests that challenge its technology, its ethics, and its actual practical value. So, let's unravel that journey together.
Okay, first things first, we need to be really clear about something. This isn't just another software update for the hospital computers. Modern AI is a fundamental shift in how medical tools are built and how they work. And that's exactly why the stakes are so much higher.
And to really get why AI is such a different beast, just look at this comparison. For decades, radiologists have used something called computer-aided detection, or CAD, but those systems were totally rule-based. Humans had to sit there and manually program them to spot specific shapes or sizes. They were basically static assistants. Modern AI, it's a whole different ballgame. It's learning-based. It literally teaches itself by churning through massive data sets, and it can keep getting better over time. This isn't just an assistant, it's a potential automator.
So, if you're a developer, how do you even start building one of these things? The whole journey actually begins way before you write a single line of code. It all starts with one simple but absolutely crucial question.
And that question is, what problem are we actually solving here? The most common mistake is building a tool just because the tech is cool or because you happen to have a big data set lying around. The best tools, the ones that really make a difference, always start by identifying a real unmet need that doctors and hospitals are struggling with every single day.
And even if you have a crystal clear goal, the hurdles are just immense. It's not enough for the AI to just work. It has to be proven to be better than the tools doctors already have. Developers have to tackle the black box problem. That's the tricky part where it's hard to know why the AI made a certain call. And maybe most importantly, they have to be totally transparent and honest about the tool's limits and when it might fail.
But look, even the most brilliant piece of technology is completely useless if it isn't safe. And that brings us to the ethics test, which is really where technology meets morality. Every single tool in medicine, whether it's a simple scalpel or a complex algorithm, has to be judged against the core principles of medicine.
These 4 principles right here, they're the absolute foundation of medical ethics. An AI tool has to be designed to do good for the patient, to do no harm, to respect a patient's choices, and, this is a big one, to ensure fairness for everyone. And that last one, justice, is a particularly tricky one for AI. And here's why. AI can accidentally take existing human biases and just make them worse. As you can see in this table, bias can sneak in from pretty much everywhere. Maybe the data it was trained on doesn't look like the real world, or the AI gets confused by other health problems a patient has. Even tiny differences in scanner settings can throw it way off. But maybe the most sneaky, insidious bias has to do with us, the humans using the tool. It's called automation bias. And it's this weird psychological quirk where we humans tend to trust a machine's answer, sometimes even more than our own gut feeling or expertise. So imagine a radiologist who's tired after a long shift. They might just accept an incorrect suggestion from the AI, and that could lead to a really serious medical error.
Okay, so let's say our AI tool has somehow navigated all those development and ethical minefields. It's ready to go. Now, what does a hospital actually look for when they're deciding whether or not to buy it?
You might think getting a stamp of approval from a regulator like the FDA is the finish line. But it's really just the beginning. That approval doesn't guarantee the tool will work with that hospital's specific patients, their unique scanners, and their particular ways of doing things. The real test always happens on site. And this slide lays out that local testing process perfectly. First, hospitals test the AI on their own patient data to see how accurate it is. Then, they'll measure its potential impact and look for what they call wow cases, those really impressive finds that prove its value. But just as important, they categorize its pitfalls and failures to really understand its weaknesses. Only after all that can they decide if it's actually ready for their patients.
Ultimately, the decision comes down to these key questions. From a strategic standpoint, does this thing solve a problem we actually have? Performance-wise, does it work here with our patients? On the workflow side, does it make our lives easier or just add more clicks? And of course, economically, is the return on investment actually there? So our AI has been developed, it's been vetted, it's been purchased, it's installed and running in the hospital. The journey's over, right? Nope, not even close. In a lot of ways, the real work is just beginning. Welcome to the long game of monitoring.
And this is all because of a concept called data drift. Think about it. The world is constantly changing, right? Patient populations evolve, hospitals get new scanners, and even diseases can start to look a little different over time. So an AI that was trained on yesterday's data can slowly and silently become less accurate on today's reality.
This is exactly why regulators like the FDA have adopted what they call a total product lifecycle approach. As you can see in this diagram, it's not a straight line to approval that just stops. It's a continuous loop. A model gets deployed, but then its real-world performance is constantly monitored, feeding new data back into the system to make sure it stays safe and effective for its entire life. And this kind of monitoring becomes even more critical when we think about the two main ways AI is actually used. Most AI today is augmentative. It's a collaborator, helping a human expert who makes the final call. The biggest risk there is that automation bias we talked about. But the future might hold more autonomous AI, true decision makers. And the risk there? It's even bigger. An unchecked error could be repeated over and over, systemically, on thousands of patients. So that means the strategies to keep patients safe have to be different. For the AI assistants, the key is constantly educating the human users about the tool's limitations and biases. But for a truly autonomous AI, the only answer is a super stringent, non-stop monitoring program to catch errors the second they happen. And all of this brings us to the final critical question that the medical and legal worlds are still trying to figure out. When a fully autonomous system, one that's operating without direct human oversight, gets it wrong, who is ultimately responsible? That single question, right there, marks the frontier of this incredible journey.